Okay, welcome to the Motley Croc Show. I'm so sorry, guys. I was all set up to go, and then I ended up getting a power outage, which really sucked. So, as always, behind the scenes, I have the Manic Satanic and Britt Investigates. I'm going to go ahead and launch them up because it's just like, God, folks, I'm so
Y'all,
sorry.
that's all good, man.
Brittany, thanks for coming in. I'm really sorry. It's just what a pain in the ass it was today.
That's all good.
Very, very pain in the butt. There we go.
No
See,
worries,
it's
man.
still acting up. Still.
Good old stormy Florida.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know what the hell's going on. I hope I'm even out there broadcasting right now. Hopefully we're live. It says we are, but with the way things have been going, I have no idea. I've been just been
Anybody who's watching, sound off.
Yeah, what's going on?
Comments.
Yeah, anybody out there? And what's going on with everybody else? Yeah, I don't see anything going on yet. So how's everybody doing? Brittany, I know you're a little sick. How you been, buddy?
Doing okay. I don't know what this is. It took the whole house by storm.
Oh boy, did you get a super sore throat?
It started with a sore throat, and then we had a fever for 3 days straight.
Sounds
Holy
like you
smokes!
Yeah. So
COVID.
John
I said
started.
Raven's throat.
Yeah, it's horrible. So John started first, and then Finn and I came a couple days behind him, and then Bims came a couple days behind us.
Oh damn!
And the fever just wouldn't break. Like Finn got to 102.9, and then his finally broke. Bim stayed right around 102.
I'll be right back. I got to check this power line. Hang on just a second.
Okay.
I
Yeah, it's just nasty, and I'm winded just going to the kitchen. Like today's actually,
yeah, that definitely sounds like the new COVID strain.
That's what
a lot of fluids.
That's what we've been doing. I called even the pediatrician because I was like, I don't want to bring them in and expose them to other viruses in the office because I can tell that they're both like down on the count. And she was like, no, she's like, it's definitely not the flu. We have a new COVID strain going around, and it's it's hitting the little ones and it's hitting everybody pretty hard, but you just got to let it run its course. And we're like, okay. So
yeah, it's all it is. You just got to keep them comfortable, make sure everybody's breathing good, and
Yeah. It's always with Finn's lungs. I just get a little tense because he has his lungs collapsed when he was 9 weeks old.
Oh boy.
And so whenever he gets sick, it always attacks his lungs. So his cough, he has bronchiolitis scarring to the lungs.
Bronchiolitis awful.
Yeah, so he had that, and it scarred his lungs up something terrible, like just awful. So every time he coughs, he always sounds like he's got a respiratory problem. But
lucky he's young, and some of that scarring should work its way out as he grows.
Yeah. So his inhalers are working right now. He's on his albuterol and his inhalers, and so
good.
We're just sleeping. Like you wouldn't believe how quickly with this you get fatigue. Like it's ridiculous.
For sure. I wish I was in Florida. I'd bring you some like inhaled steroids for him or something that'll knock out some of the inflammation.
Oh, it'd be awesome. It's terrible. Like it's.
Oh, trust me.
I wish this on nobody.
Yet, but
yeah.
I won't.
No,
7 others.
No, I wish this on no one. Like it's terrible. I took care of the animals at mom and dad's, and I stepped outside, and your body is already fighting so much. And you're already sweating in Florida when we step outside, but like this time, like you feel the heat so much differently when you're sick like this. And so like I'm like just boring.
It's the worst. You just feel disgusting. I've been there. I hate going outside in Florida when I'm sick. I feel so gross. Just like, now I want to go shower, but I can't stand up for that long.
No, exactly. I just was like, so I get back and I'm like, don't talk to me. I'm laying down.
There you go. It's 67 degrees here right now.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Is it really?
Yeah, and we're waiting for a storm, but it's been like
it just slammed us earlier.
And at night, it's beautiful outside. Breeze, mild.
Yeah, I've noticed that's been like that for a little bit these days too.
How are you liking it? Are you enjoying it so far?
I'm just getting used to the hospital. I've only been there for 2 days for training, and it was daytime. So today was my last day training. And when you go during the day, you have to park off site and shuttle in. So that kind of sucked. So that was an extra half hour. I stayed a little further away because I found a really cool little farmhouse about 50 minutes.
That's cool.
It's badass. It's really nice, and it was cheap comparatively. I was having a hard time finding a place because it's like high camping season out here, and so yeah, no, I found a place, and I drove the first night. I drove 18 straight hours to New York from Florida.
Wow.
I just wasn't getting tired. I was going to stop in Virginia was my plan, but I'm like, I'm not tired. I'll go to Delaware, nothing, Maryland, nothing, Jersey. I'm like, keep on going, Pennsylvania. So I drove there, and then I drove the next morning like an hour and something to my mom, stayed over, and then drove like 4 more hours up here.
Jeez.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Got to see your mama.
Yeah, for sure. And I got to see my kids too, which was pretty badass. And
that's great. That's awesome. Uh-oh.
Yeah, we lost Troy. We lost the boss.
We lost him. Yeah, I forgot that you were already up there starting now.
Yeah, I start nights on Saturday. And then I'm going to fly back to Florida in the middle of July so I could finish up all the renovations I was doing. And I have to build to shore up the pen for the tortoise because he got out again.
Oh, jeez.
Our neighbors, they all know he lives there, so they brought him back. Hey, Troy, is it safe to put an air tag on his back with like marine glue or something, right?
Yeah, just you can use super glue. It won't hurt him.
Cool. We're going to air tag him. He doesn't usually go far, but you never know.
Yeah, try to find a place you can put it where people won't see it and pop it off.
Yeah, good idea. It's a real good
what I'm
idea.
saying?
Yeah, I think I got the spot.
Yeah, you know where it's at. Do it because sometimes people try to pop that off.
Yeah, for sure.
But you'll be able to track them, first. You know what I mean?
I'd like to see somebody try to run with an 80-pound tortoise in their hand that's doing this the whole time.
Yeah, he'll probably flail too, won't he?
They wouldn't get very far.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that'd be terrible. Today's kind of an off day. I don't really understand it. I don't know. It's just weird. Like we had like a storm come through, and then it got quiet, and then we had like I guess a power surge, or maybe the road got wet and somebody ran into a transformer, and then it was like gone for like 5 minutes. And when it went 5 minutes, it just shut down everything because everything's connected, to the screen, and then so it's just like a weird day, like there's nobody online really. I was looking at some of the views even through Instagram, and it's just it's like really, it's just weird. I think maybe a lot of people might be sick.
Yeah, plus the holiday.
It's a holiday coming up. And yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that, Jeff.
People on the road. Yeah, I actually forgot it was the 4th of July until
me too.
At some point this afternoon when even John was like, I think I'm going to take the rest of the day off and lay down because no one's in office. And I was like, wait, why? It's Thursday. And he's like, tomorrow's 4th of July. I was like,
yeah, it's like so much shit's been going on in the world. It's hard to even remember stuff like that. I hit one of the local dispensaries, so I'm just going to sit on the porch tomorrow if it's not raining too hard and smoke weed all day and say, America. Dude, the dispensaries here are next level.
I bet.
I went into one, the guy's like, oh, this is our weed bar. They probably had 30 or 40 jars like this big, just full of buds. And he would unscrew them and be like, smell this one. And it's pretty good.
oh my gosh.
I bought some blunts rolled in hemp. They were freaking unbelievable.
Yeah, that's what I try to tell a lot of people in the state of Florida. They run, so classic weed that I used to get back in the days is a Delta 9 form, and it's really hallucinogenic. Which I want to talk to you, Jeff, later.
Yeah,
but I think I got something you like. But in Florida, obviously we have medical cards or whatever. But in Florida, you got to go, and it's it's Delta 10. It's just a little bit more of a mild. It's like a reactive, a little bit less than Delta 9. A lot of the dispensaries in like where Jeff is and all the other places, they're running Delta 9 because that's your original, heavier deal.
Yeah,
and
it's
interesting to me.
Like infused pre-rolls, so they infuse them with hash or with concentrate. So they're like 40-45% THC. They're all
dipped in keef. I don't know what you're talking about.
Everything. Cool. Edibles. They have like the drinks and anything you think of. And there's like probably a dispensary every 2 blocks. They're everywhere.
Yeah, sublinguals are pretty good too. I mean,
yeah.
As I was telling Brittany, everybody resorts to, oh my God, I'm going to take NyQuil and lay down. You didn't even really need that, man. You just a little drop under the tongue and go to sleep. And, there's no side effects. Nobody dies from it. I can't understand the whole thing. I mean, when we talk to people about it, general, I mean, all whatever 3 people or whoever's watching the show right now, God the fuck knows why. I have no idea what's going on. It's just
Anybody there?
so.
Chat.
At this
did-
point, I don't really. At this point, I don't care if they're there or not. I just want to just hang out with you guys for a little bit. But
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, I mean, it's like everybody resorts to all these heavy meds and stuff, and for things you just.
Yeah.
Granted, some people need medicine, but not in some cases you just really don't. And it's
I've
like,
gotten
look,
myself to pretty much strictly edibles for
yeah,
sleep.
relax.
Yeah. And everything else. I'll take the sleep. Oh,
What's up,
wait,
Craig?
wait.
Finally.
He's there. It's working. Whoop whoop.
Hey, Craig.
That's awesome. What's up, crowd? We didn't even know anybody was listening. So hey, PDQ, send us some chickens.
I love it. PDQ.
I was like, it's just saying shit. Oh, so yeah, the ones in Florida, I took 40 milligrams of chocolate, and here I took 15 of the gummies that I bought out like a light. Didn't wake up till morning, man.
Well, it's good though. Sometimes
Yeah,
people get insomnia, and they really need that.
I do.
It's just it's a funny thing that you need it sometimes.
Yeah, if I don't take it, I'll just even if I'm tired, I get too tired to fall asleep, where I'm just uncomfortable and I want to sleep so bad, but I just can't. And my legs are restless, my fucking brain is racing 1,000 miles an hour.
Yep.
But yeah, hopefully I'm going to get to do some hiking up here soon and find some cool animals. I've been hitting. I don't know if you ever seen the app iNaturalist.
Oh, I have not. Is that good?
It's awesome, man.
So you can see. Okay.
Yeah, it's like people
iNaturalist. Let me look at this
on the app. So if say you pull up like your area and you go in the search box and you type, cottonmouth, it's going to show you everywhere somebody reported a cottonmouth on the app. So up here, I've been looking at. There he is. Where'd he go?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm coming back.
You're cool. As long as you're listening.
I can hear you.
I got to find a porcupine up here and a moose. That is my goal.
Oh, yes.
There's tons. Like when I put it in iNaturalist, all around where I'm staying, there's moose pictures and stuff. And there's a lot of like bobcats too. So big bobcats and stuff like that. So I'm going to go out and explore a little bit. Tomorrow, if it's not rain, I may just go get lost in the woods a little. Cool stuff.
The farmhouse that you're staying in, is it on land? So it's in the foresty areas?
It looks like it's on a couple acres and there's a little bit of woods.
Oh, so maybe you'll get some animals come through your property.
I would love that. I really would. Because there's a lot of like around me, there's maybe 1 or 2 other houses, and then there's just like farmland and stuff like that. So probably coming and eating the crops.
Yeah.
No, I've never seen a moose in the wild, or a porcupine. Those are my big goals right there.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
that would be really cool.
I'll be pretty excited if I see a freaking moose. I'm gonna ride that shit home. To talk. So Craig, what's up, Craig?
He said PDQ, I guess. So we only have Craig hanging with us tonight. Well, there's a little more than that, but tonight it's a weird night. I even feel kind of off. I just don't understand. It's like
it is a little. It's
weird to me. It's like really weird. Like it's weird.
Yeah, it is. It is a strange night. It was funny. There's all this old furniture in here. It's a super old house, and I didn't have an end table, so I moved this like chest of drawers thing over by the bed so I could like have all my bed stuff by it. And I opened the drawer before I started the show because I was looking for something to prop up my computer a little bit. And there's like a big cross with Jesus on it, and then like a bunch of weird books about serial killers. I'm like, oh boy,
that's kind of cool though. I would like that.
Creepy, right?
Oh my god! You should see if it's haunted. Hi, Holly.
Hey, Holly.
Hey, Holly. What's up?
You should totally see if it's haunted.
I know, right? I have not heard anything yet, except for my own feet. Like I had to get up at 4 a.m. the last couple of days to go in during the day, and it's so creaky. I take a step, and I'm not a light stepper. So it's just
listen,
crazy.
You got to just give it a couple of days for it to get to know you, and then let the weird start coming out in the house.
Creeper.
And please don't scare the living crap out of me. Just come hang out. I'll smoke you up. See what we can do. I'll get some like ectoplasmic weed gummies.
We're gonna see you next week, and you're gonna be like underneath like some type of weird tent, and you're gonna.
All right.
Like, I'm not alone in this house.
A big light shining in my face.
He's like, I haven't slept in days. There's something sound.
Yeah, no, this house is definitely old. There's a really old barn on the property too. I'd like to go through there, and there you go.
Yeah, exactly. That's how we're gonna see Day.
Yeah, this barn is like
Something's going on in here, man.
That's
it
I'm
was
following it.
so yeah, pretty much it's like I don't really know anybody. I went to lunch with Ruby yesterday, which was cool. You know, we went and hit a spot there, and then I'm gonna take her to see the Descendants in a couple weeks. She asked me to take her, so we're super psyched on that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, no, it's a cool town though, man. It's very kind of like, you know, little hippie-ish, very green, mountains all around. I'm like 80 something miles from Montreal, so I'll probably be up there. And I got to tell my friend where to go to the show here.
That'd be kind of cool. Sounds like you're having a really good time, man.
Yeah, man. Good. So far, so good. You know.
Nice, Craig. The Everglades.
You going to the prison, Craig? You're going to Alligator Alcatraz, Alligator Auschwitz. That's what I've been calling.
Oh my gosh, that's a fun story.
Oh my god, it flooded already. They got 1 inch of rain, and it flooded yesterday or the day before.
They said they were taking heavy precautions for things like that, though. Like especially within those buildings, like they had it built up. What was it like? They had it built up several feet off the ground because they knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, this is the Everglades. They're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, I remember after Irma, I tried to go down there and go python hunting, and it was like I couldn't even get there because everything was blocked. Yeah, Holly, they're building a prison for immigrants, which I actually built in about 4 days, so it's obviously structurally sound. And
4 days, good.
Yeah,
Lord.
in the middle of Big Cypress National Forest, which is actually one of my favorite parts of the Everglades. It's very pristine still. You know, there's a few.
They didn't touch it.
Few and far between. What's that?
They didn't touch any of the Everglades. They're using the old airport there, so it's already structured. They're already using old structure.
It's in Big Cypress.
Yeah, I'm just saying they're using an old structure that was already there. Just not.
Oh, they built.
There's some crazy structures out there.
There's nothing on that airport at all. It's just a blank tarmac. I used to go up there looking for pythons all the time.
There's like crazy shit out there, Jeff. There's some places out there, bro, that look like nuclear shit.
Oh yeah, if you go down,
like you look down the tubes and shit. I've seen all that weird stuff in there.
Yeah, there's a spot called Southern Glade down by the entrance to the Everglades, and I used to have a key to the gate when I was working for Fish and Wildlife. And you go in there, and there's all these old structures. They're all tagged up and everything, like buildings, like concrete buildings. Nice. So I went in there and checked it out, and it was pretty crazy, man.
That's awesome.
Didn't they used to have some rocket testing too down there too? Isn't that what some of those? It wouldn't
surprise me if they did in Southern Glade. That would probably be the spot because it was cleared out now, and there's a paved road that turns into dirt when you kind of come around that building, and then if you look into the woods, into the jungle there's more structures that are kind of hard to get to. So I didn't even bother, and it was night, so I wasn't about to go trudging through the swamp at night looking for it. But yeah, man, it's
well, I think the there's a lot of media that is incorrect on a lot of the it's funny.
Of course. But that's the way it goes. That's all
it's really bad. So they're saying that
there's no media that doesn't spin.
No, about 100%. Both channels have all on both
movies.
Sides have gotten it.
It's all just a big movie, an exciting movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was looking at the pictures of the water, and it's in there. I mean, it's.
Oh no, I don't mean that. I don't mean that. Listen, I think it'd be hilarious. Then all of a sudden you wake up, there's just a gator outside of your. That's like.
Oh, man. Actually, the gator's going to be more scared of them than they are of the gators. That's for sure.
My god! I just think it's not actually that bad. Like,
forget the gators; it's the cottonmouth you got to watch out for, and the EVs.
What I meant by the media spinning it though, they're like, it's going to house children. No, this building is never. These are structures they made are never meant to house any immigrant mothers or children or families. It is strictly for the criminal men.
That's it.
That are only supposed to be there for 3 to 5 days.
They said 75% of the people they've arrested and deported had no criminal record.
No, but they have. But if you are here illegally, that's considered a criminal. Like, but you're not. They're only
Well,
detaining you for several days.
That's what
and
my,
sending
my
you
neighbor
back.
was telling me about that
It's
today.
not. It's not for a long period of time. They're there for,
He's from
and it's not
Argentina.
children.
He's from Argentina, and they said it took him 8 years to get here with his visa because he wanted to come here.
Oh no, I
and work.
agree that coming
And he was telling me today
illegal
that
is
they
the
were
right
doing
way.
that.
But getting locked in a prison in the swamp is not a fitting punishment for crossing a border. You know, I mean, you want to deport, that's fine. But now they're talking about deporting U.S. citizens, you know, and threatening to deport U.S. citizens and not only naturalized citizens as well.
Right, Sage.
You know, it's
But I thought that was only if you're considered a terrorist to the state or to the country. Like if you're coming in, like if you are not pro your country.
Guess what? I don't give a fuck. How's that sound, folks? You guys can comment in the comments on it. You come here illegally. I've been overseas. I know what they do to us when we were overseas doing shit. So I don't care. I stay out of it. So if people are they're commenting on here, I'm not going to put some of the stuff up over here that's coming in on my. But come on, guys, like that you're commenting me privately here. I've got a private comment section here, and they're like, hey, what about this and what about that, and this is wrong. Listen, I know I've got a lot of people on both sides of the fence here. It's the Croc show, and I don't care. But I'll be honest with you guys. You can tell me all you want. I'm an entertainer. I don't really care. I try to stay away from the law.
I hear you. And
if these people are here skating around, dude, and that's on them. They get caught.
This particular one just hit me hard because that's
the Everglades.
Home for a long time.
The Everglades, we shouldn't do that, right? The Everglades.
I was in Cyprus every week working, and
we got to go back to the Army Corps of Engineers. Now they completely destroyed the Everglades. Completely.
Those levees.
So instead of building anything there,
absolutely,
no matter what it is, we need to rewater it. We need to refunction the way the water flow goes back down, the way the filtration heads into Miami. That's what I think we ought to do. We don't. We never will.
Yeah, they built all those levees. They freaking.
Well, that's why I was saying when they were doing rocket testing or something in the 80s in the Everglades, like all the damage that would have done to the ecosystem there. You know what I mean? Right? Yeah. Like how horrible that would have been if those were being done there.
I think we should just rerun the water routes back down. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like just run it back down. Let's fix the waterways down there and worry about that.
Again, dude, I'm telling you.
But there's no publicity on that. No one can complain or talk about it or go protest it. Right? Yeah. So the only people that stand up and want the water fixed are the natives down there and the indigenous, and nobody listens to them.
Yep. And they were out protesting. They
were because they don't want their glades messed up. I mean,
it was their land. We took it from them.
Yeah,
you know, that's their place.
And they don't want that there exactly. And that's the bigger picture. Like
it.
You know,
that's their land. They don't want it there.
Pennsylvania Avenue in DC. See how many people would really want it there. You know. They want to put it somewhere where they think nobody cares, but there are people that care.
And that's totally not true, right? They do care, and they want that place. I think it should be left wild.
Well, we only have certain parts of Florida that are like untouched, and the Everglades is one of them for a reason. You know what I mean?
Left. Unfortunately, there's not many left.
No, there's not. They keep building and building and building in our state, and we're just demolishing amazing locations and ecosystems that our state needs to thrive.
Yeah, and Big Cypress is one of the few untouched places. I mean, like, you know, on Wagon Wheel and there's a few houses. There's a few houses on part of Loop on the paved part, but other than that, there's no like businesses. There's no commercial. You know, there's not even a gas station through Big Cypress. You have to drive all the way out.
It's nice out there though.
Or the other way to Florida City.
I mean, if they wanted the alligator effect, isn't there any good old swamps in Louisiana that nobody cares about? Just build something in the swamp.
Damn skippy,
you know, Louisiana.
You know,
I mean, it's just one of my favorites.
Louisiana, like the alligators have teeth, but the residents don't. I'm just kidding. Sorry, Louisiana people.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that'd be David. Dave, they live in Louisiana. I think that it's funny because I try to. I like entertainment. I work in entertainment.
Oh, I'm with you, man.
And people try to come at me all the time, like they want me to turn my Instagram page into this political shit. And I got friends of mine that have no idea what my views are, but they send me these outrageous things, dude. Like,
you and me both, man.
Oh yeah, you know, see, because you know, look what Trump's doing. He's a Republican. If the Democrats were still in, they wouldn't be doing this. I go, listen, motherfucker. Do you not realize that Obama was Democrat? He deported more than anybody ever has in history.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to
Anymore.
say that. He deported more than anybody in history, but he was a Democrat. So it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or you're Republican or what it
I
is.
agree.
They
They
come to
all
me. It's like,
suck,
come
man.
on, guys. You
Like I
guys are
always
all
say, red
doing it.
Kool-Aid, blue Kool-Aid.
I don't want any
Makes no
part of
difference.
it. People want to bring it to my media. You want to talk in private about it? I tell people, fine. We'll talk in private about it and we'll have an educated conversation. But in my media, man, like they always want to
Yeah.
stick it on my story, like, oh, put this, or what do you think about that? Or, I got people that follow Ant that are really Republican. I got people that follow this, whatever, all these other people that are real Democrat. Then they want to stick me. I don't care. I'm saying it now because I hope people listen. Like, I'm not involved in that. It's not what I get into. It's just like, to me, that's my private thing. And people always bring it to my Instagram page or to my messenger. Have you seen this? Have you seen that? Yeah. There's a lot of bullshit in the country right now. And, I'm glad I'm here. I lost a lot of people during Desert Storm. I have friends that haven't come back recently from the military. And I think
I
that
hear that, man.
when I hear people all the time talking about, oh, America's the worst country in the world, you're fucking sadly mistaken when you think that way. Sadly mistaken.
Oh, I agree with that. It's not the worst country.
We've got great countries out there and we should all be supporting countries and helping each other and stop with this constant fucking crap we do to each other. Absolutely terrible.
Yeah, no, I agree. People are horrible.
Right?
They're fucking horrible to each other.
They are to each other for all over the money. And it isn't just this president or that king or this person, or it's always a group of big business running the situations and how much money they can squeeze out of a rock and kill everybody in the process. And
absolutely.
Unfortunately, we look into things that, because we're so small-minded. What's up, Judy? We're so small-minded that we look into stupid topics that don't even really matter in the grand scheme of things, which should be a state-by-state thing. Certain things should just be state-by-state, like weed, abortion, being gay, being trans, flying a flag, having a rebel flag, a pinky flag, a rainbow flag. Who gives a fuck about that? That should be up to you and your community. I'm talking about greater things like killing people off for money, or taking land, or land grabbing, or taking from another country attacking another country we shouldn't even be involved in. So it just keeps going. And we can't fix it. So
the only way we should ever be involved in a war is if somebody attacks us.
Exactly. And I think if we're there to protect somebody because they protect us, I'm with you. If we're not, like Vietnam, I had uncles and stuff in the Vietnam. It was terrible.
Yep.
I still to this day don't know why we had anybody in the Vietnam War. I have no idea. What's up, Ange? How you doing?
No, same with the Gulf, both Gulfs.
Yeah, it's just it all became over. But that was all at the time we didn't know, right? We didn't know what was going on. That's all more political shit to try to make it look like this person was doing that when you really think of what it says. You want friends agree with our politicians, but believe there's no political system from monarchy to republic, even socialism. The common factor is human. And
I agree with
absolutely, Craig. And you're right. You're right. And like I said, I really don't understand why we bring some topics into should be community topics.
No, I hear
what you choose to do in your community. The stuff that they're taking up is
out there. Feel free to privately message me if you really want to, but you know me, I'm an open book. I don't.
Sure. But on my entertainment platforms, I'm like, guys, we're not doing that. We're what I do is to escape it. When I'm sitting in with Discovery Channel or any of the executives we talk, yes, it's cool to have an escape. Yes, that's why Skinwalker Ranch is cool to watch, because it's something different other than look at this guy getting beat up, or oh my God, woman set on fire and raped by 7 guys, and oh, Indians pooping in their hand and wiping it on walls in a building. I mean, some people just don't want to see that anymore. So we want to go to this entertainment spectrum.
In their hand and wiping on a wall in the building.
I mean, I've already watched it. This is how they live, and they're shitting on the streets. Yeah, they do. We already know that. We know what they do. We've dealt with the people. I got an award from the people that live in India, and they're trying to save the crocodiles, and what they do in those rivers. This is fucking disgusting. They don't care about their fucking animals. So I don't know why we have people from all over the country, like Australia, America, Europe, and Africa, trying to go there and save these animals because they don't get any help. Let's put it that way. They don't get any help, hardly any help at all. So if it wasn't for the little struggling people out there that believe in conservation and really do conservation out there, a lot of these animals wouldn't even exist, because I'm telling you folks, they don't give a fuck. And if they don't give a fuck there, when they come here, they're going to give a fuck here. So we have to decide what we're going to do on our own country. But as far as entertainment goes, I agree with like Discovery. Sometimes you just want to watch a ghost show, or a show about hot rods, or a show about tattoos, or a show about ER, medical things that happen in the ER. Sometimes you just want to be away from this. And the media takes so much and spins it into so much garbage that it isn't even real when it gets to the fucking channel. It's not even real. So unless you're where they are, right? Like I was, for example, watching the news a week when they're like California and they're blowing up flags and burning American flags. Well, I talked to Ricky. He's like, dude, this is like 3 blocks in the
Yeah.
city. This is not. They're making it sound like it's the entire Los Angeles. It's 3 blocks. It's contained, and they're souping it up.
Bigger
souping
news
it
is
up.
sexy news, man. They can't go on and say, well, 3 people, you know,
Right.
They show the pictures of the half a dozen bad actors that are doing stupid shit.
Yep.
You know, and it's and both sides do it. Both sides.
But for me, I don't want to be caught in that. Like, I don't want this brain rot disease to get in my head where I'm like, oh my God, I got to pick a side, be angry at everybody I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't pick a
exactly.
side.
You know what I mean, Jeff? They'll make you so mad at something and you don't even know.
I don't even fucking troll like I used to anymore, man. It pisses me off too much. I get fucking like all wrenched up inside because you can't debate a true believer. You just can't. You know, I will. It's frustrating.
The social media, they do it just to divide, and then it just feeds in, like Troy said, it's like a mental disease sickness,
but here's the thing.
And it causes such hate.
They see a headline.
But here's the thing. Here's how diseased it is.
Period.
That's right. That's right.
They'll send you some political, stupid fucking thing in your Instagram, and you'll be like, oh, and you open it.
Yeah.
Right? And now you're in that fucking algorithm.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to go back in and I have to hit not interested, not interested, not interested on this type of stuff. And then I have to go in on my professional page because I have a professional Instagram page, like check marked, I'm authorized professional. And I go in and I look for keywords that I don't want to be involved with. Then I look for those keywords and hashtags and I eliminate them. So I see nothing of that sort.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you always get someone's like, hey, let me talk to you. Hey, I've been watching your show for a while. Do you ever want to talk about this? No, I do not want to talk about it.
Yeah.
It can be vulgar, it can be funny, crude humor, racial humor, whatever. I don't care about that. Everybody has fun.
We'll have a
good time making fun of each other.
And Britt,
we will. We definitely will talk about childhood trauma. And I just think that people, man, you know what? I don't watch the news, and this is why. But when I was a kid and I didn't watch the news, the same shit has been going on in the 1980s. That's going on right now. Same shit. There's this whole channel called Timeline. And this YouTube guy does all this really cool investigations, right? It's called Weird History. And he has this one in his channel, one of his sections are called Timeline. He picks each year from 1978. There's one that goes all the way back to 1971. So I got up to 1987 and I was having lunch. I was showing Cody. I'm like, yeah, check this out, dude. What are they doing? Same shit we see now. Gets up into later on. Then you got the Rodney King riots.
They had cooler cars back then.
Yeah, and you got they're doing the same thing. Oh, so and so got beat up and wore this and
freaking 70 grand Gran Torino like Starsky and Hutch had. Remember that?
Yeah, the videos are great because they show the streets and the cars on the road are badass.
Oh, for sure, dude. I had my '68 Mustang Coupe. It was my baby back in the '80s.
Well, doesn't it seem to you like everything looks the same now?
Somewhat.
When you drive, when all the cars are pretty much the same.
It looks like this now.
Yeah, but the cars too, they're like a little sedan or a hatchback, or it's the typical mom driving a giant SUV with a stick family on the back.
My
and it's like they're always the same.
Had a Wagoneer with the wood paneling on the side.
We had a Dodge Caravan with wood paneling on the side.
Yep, and then they had a Suzu Trooper for a while. So they were always the SUV.
But I mean, nowadays the SUVs don't even look different. Like the Bronco look different than the Jimmy or the GMC. And then you got now everything's like the same. All the Camry looks like the Civic, looks like the. I feel like they came out, and then the only cars that really look different are the battery cars.
And they're trying to all the cars that like the 60-year-old men buy, they're trying to make them more slick and low. And I don't know how like a 70-year-old man gets in and out of a Corvette these days because it's like that high from the freaking.
Oh God, I can't even get in and out of it.
Yeah, no, me neither, dude. You should have seen me after that 18-hour drive, dude. I went to move and my freaking legs are like, nope.
Yep, you're stuck. Yep.
Yeah. It was
that's
cool,
what I mean.
though,
Everything
man.
looks the same. You go out, it's the same traffic. It's like nothing's new. At least in the 80s, things were new.
Yeah.
And things were happening, bro. Like things that we'd never seen before. I've seen all this before. War, hatred, killing, immigrants, deportation, abortion, people mad, burning the flag. I've seen all this already. No, it's nothing new.
Nope.
No matter who's in and who it is.
Change, the more they stay the same. There's no doubt about that.
Oh my God. That sounds like, remember, I think that was David Lee Roth said that. Isn't that in a Van Halen song?
That's the worst thing to happen to the world, period. Both. Because we have all this information at our fingertips, which is great. Like I can go.
That's how we're perceiving it.
What's that?
but it's how we're perceiving it. Right?
Absolutely.
It's how we react to what we're looking at.
Right. And then
you're creating angry people for no reason.
And disinformation, and it spreads like wildfire because people are like, oh, this headline aligns with whatever my beliefs are. I'm going to repost it. I'll worry about vetting it later.
Exactly. You couldn't have said that better yourself. It's like this. There's a lot of people like my neighbor, for example. He's awesome, right? But he has, he's got a language barrier where he's still trying to learn English. He's pretty good with it, but he's still learning it. But you got these people that watch social media.
Yeah,
now everybody that has a strong accent is an immigrant. We need to beat them up.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. We have no idea what they're doing, if they're illegal, if they're a criminal or not. We're just judging them because they look different. And that's what the media does. And the media causes that division. And the reason that division's there is because it's easier to control people under that division. And I mean,
they want
if you can keep people scared and divided, you got them by the fucking balls.
No. They don't say divide and conquer for no reason. It's the more that we're divided and the more we're at each other's throats, the more money they make because they can do it right under our noses. They fat cat it up, and they.
That's right, Craig. Agreed.
Yep.
And they want you to do that. They want you to see this shit and propagate it. So whoever has the most money to propagate the most social corruption, right? They get more votes that way. And sometimes it's not even a fact. They take a small fact in a situation, blow it up to the whole situation, which it never was to begin with. And then they get votes on that. And that's what Craig was talking about. I try to vote locally because that's what affects us in Florida. Taxes, property taxes, things like that. That shouldn't be a president thing.
Ready to fucking skyrocket again. And you know what? Y'all should write in for me in 2028. I'd be a great president. I'm old enough.
Go for it.
Absolutely.
Hey, it's an open field now.
Legal. Everything's fucking legal as long as you don't hurt anybody. Period.
Yeah, there you go. But that's my point. So whatever state there's 50 states, right? So you'll find a state that you fit in best, and that'll stop a lot of bullshit. Like if there's a place you want to go and this is what your interests are and this area is good for it, go to it. Live your life like that. You only get 80 to 100 years.
It costs money to move, and nobody's got any right now.
I understand that. But we're so worried about all this big stuff, like Craig said, in Washington, and we don't need. I mean, we got problems here we need to worry about.
Oh, I would love
just like how they twist it.
There's a reason that we have, 50 state charters or constitutions. That's the way the government was meant to be. States' rights are important. State sovereignty is important, and people campaign on it. But then the next thing they do, they're trying to tell the states what to do. That's where it becomes a problem, is that you can't campaign on state sovereignty. And I'm not saying anybody in particular. You can't campaign on state sovereignty and then tell the states what to do. It's contradictory.
Yeah.
100%.
And like with that, I'll get off my soapbox.
But you're correct, and it's just I think about a lot of different things, and I think a lot of the causes, like the women's lib movement and the gay movement and all this stuff when it started, and what it started for compared to what it's been twisted into is a completely different thing, completely. And then you see people that lived the era that were part of it, that started it, that were part of these members, when they're like, this is not what we did this for. We didn't do this to be violent or hate another person. We're against that altogether. And now it's turned into everybody hates this person who hates that person. And it doesn't matter what Jeff and I think. If we walk out in public because we're in our 50s and we're white, we're fucking shitty people. That's it. We're just shitty fucking people because we're white, we're in our 50s. And I'm sorry, but that's not true. I come from a very mixed family, from an adopted family of all over the fucking world. So there's little brown ones and yellow ones and red ones in my family. So when people say, I just must be privileged, only when they were drunk, must be privileged. No. And so, and I you do all the research when you go back into the, what do we got here? I'm on 26, my first thing would be.
I'm with that, Craig.
Recycled toilet paper.
I will vote for you.
Yes.
Craig.
See, Craig, I would love to have Craig. We'd be in a good place with him. We would. Because we've got age, guys, and a lot of people that are propagating this shit are fucking teenagers or in their 20s and maybe 30 years old.
I was like, what? Wait, speak for yourself. So
when you talk to these kids, they have no fucking clue what they're doing.
Fucked up times, you and me.
Because I didn't.
Some turbulent times, and honestly, I hate to say it, but kids today just don't get it.
No, they don't.
No, but they think
Yeah.
they do because,
Mhm.
Jeff, imagine if we had the resources, right? Like when
Oh
we
my God,
believed in anarchy, or when and we could communicate that to a following of 1 million people. Imagine the kind of corruption you could. That's the problem.
Yep.
So you have kids out there believing in things they have no idea what they believe in. First of all, they think they do with no life
That blows my
experience
mind.
because one little thing affected them. One little thing affected them.
They're
So,
being told what to believe. Like they are so spoon
which
fed.
they
It's
always have always done
disgusting.
that.
Oh my God.
It's
And if you
because
put them, if even if you
It's
separate
easy.
them, they can't think on their own, right? Like if you separate them from their group, they can never think on their own. And then when the group's all together, they all ask each other like Q&A, like, is that right? I don't know. Yeah, right. That's right. It's like, shouldn't you know this? How do you not know this?
The
And it's
problem,
like the stupidity level is like I feel we've de-evolved. Like watching college
well,
grade
every
students
day.
for
talk
sure.
makes me so sad. These are college kids that
Every
eventually
day
are
we
going to be
evolve.
doctors and lawyers and attorneys. And I'm going, you can't be a part of the civilization and have mind like this.
Well, here, think about this. I mean, human beings are corrupt, as Craig said earlier. We corrupt things. That's what we do. But listen to this. What we do with cell phones is we take the rights away from the family unit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we were young, or when Jeff and I were young, our parents could be open with us. We could talk about things. We were allowed to watch certain things. We weren't 4 years old going to an R-rated movie, watching a rape scene or somebody being beaten to death because our little minds weren't ready. We
Right.
weren't. If I had a child right now, 4 years old, I'm not going to sit in a movie and watch somebody brutally be raped and stabbed. I'm not going to do that to a 4-year-old. That I won't do. But at the end of the day, they get these phones, and I see little kids everywhere I go to the grocery store. There's a 3-year-old with a phone in his face. So these marketing people, they can shift whatever they want. You have no control of your own family anymore.
I was 10 years old when I saw my first R-rated movie.
Yeah, I probably was too.
Animal House.
I probably snuck over to my uncle's house and watched HBO, right?
1978, man.
My parents were like, we got to protect that, but I was a kid and I got scared of shit. So when you're a little kid, things scare you. There's certain things you shouldn't see, right? So at the end of the day, you can't control it anymore because cell phones are everywhere. They're in schools. They're giving them out for free, and friends are loaning other friends while all you need is Wi-Fi.
Kids. And if we were lucky,
Right.
we had a Betamax tape.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Or wait, scrambled porn.
Yeah, don't forget that when satellite dishes hit the market, bro. Yeah, dude.
Scrambled porn was the shit. Be like,
yeah, that we used to call it the squigglies. The squigglies. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So right on that. So fucking right on that.
And you'd sit there and watch it for 20 minutes with your friends, be like, oh my God, I can't believe we're watching porn.
Yeah, you feel like you're like, oh, but that's all you had. Nowadays, kids are picking up phones and doing experiences something you don't get until 15 seconds after you need it. Us old farts have gone through experience. It's not seen on Facebook, and I think we know what life's about. You're right, Craig.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Yep.
I know
once
what
you shift,
about getting over on your fellow man.
They've already told even talking with our co-host Charlie in the show. He's like forensically into computers and how they work and the overlays, and he said sometimes there's things in the background that are telling you something subconsciously, and you're looking at something totally different.
Remind you of
That's why people get so addicted to
called,
pornography and video games and all this kind of stuff. It just keeps you there.
Why am I blanking on the damn movie name? Roddy Piper. They Live.
Yeah, remember that?
We put on the glasses and you saw like all the subliminal signs like obey, consume.
Yep.
Spend money.
And they knew that back then. That's so right. They Live. If you've never seen that, Brittany, it's a little cheesy, but the point is very valid.
But it's good.
Very valid.
Chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm almost out of bubble gum.
Yeah, remember it was cheese, but it was cool. It was cool.
Well, it's also scary too because with social media, like you were saying, Troy, with like the younger generation, so a lot of parents think, oh, it's okay for my kids to have like social platforms like Facebook. Well, not even Facebook so much. They have like Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok. But
that can be dangerous.
Here's the real dangerous part. Even with Finn being in school, I've gotten calls from the principal that have been mass calls to all the parents saying, we're letting you know that we're aware of a new TikTok trend that's asking younger elementary students to harm themselves. We're investigating it. The police is we're trying to find out where it's at, where it started. and we're trying to put it down. I can tell you in a school year, we got many of those calls from trends that they were trying to narrow down on. And they were asking parents to please, for the time being, do not allow your children to go on social media, because they were trying to track who started the original trend, and students were doing the trend and getting hurt. And they're violent trends. And it's just sickos that are infiltrating the younger generations. And in my opinion, I don't think any child under the age of 15 should be on social media, just because they're still learning who they are. At 13, you're going to puberty. You don't know what the heck's going on with yourself. You feel odd in your own skin, then you're being bullied. I just feel it's a targeted, sensitive thing anyway. We didn't have that growing up. If we were bullied, it was different. You weren't socially bullied to the point to where it's nonstop through comments, Instagram.
Right. It was only when you went to school.
Messages.
You're saying it didn't follow you.
Right. You could break. Exactly, Troy. You could break away from it. With social media today, you can't break away from it. Like if you were getting bullied at school, you could at least come home if you had a home that was open to communicate about it, and we could talk to our parents and be like, that's what I mean.
Like, Jeff, it's if you're helping your daughters find out who they are, you're helping them. You're not judging them.
Of course.
When you're a kid, when you're a little girl and you're 11 years old, and someone's like, "You're fat. You don't have any boobies. You're ugly, or you have freckles, or your dad's a Jew." That's fucking wrong, and that goes on and on. And there was no way to get away from that nowadays. Before we were kids, we could get home. Our parents were there. It was safe. And we were like, I don't want to go to school. They're going to bully me. Now it's right in your face all the time. You get it at school. You get it here. You get it there. And that just gave these retarded kids, these retard, brutal, ridiculous retardos that go out and pick on people for no reason. Listen, if you're a kid that goes and bullies a little kid because they're small, or they like art, or they're doing something different, or they like a color and you're bullying them, you're just a retard. Plain and simple. There's no reason to hurt someone like that. And when I was a kid, I got bullied, but when I saw somebody getting bullied, bro, I retaliated.
That was the thing about people like us growing up in the 80s. We may have been a little nerdy, but we had 50 nerds behind us. So
but I retaliated, bro.
Jackets and
I was long-haired, fucking. I like rock, and there were jocks like, "I'll kick your ass, throw a football at your head." Or I remember. Let me tell you something. I'll tell you what I did one time. There was this kid. His name was Travis Britt, Gritt, Grit. My parents might remember. He took something from me. I had a Masters of the Universe, I think, lunchbox, and there was a
you don't want to
thermos in there. He fucking stole my thermos, and he thought it was funny. So I took my lunchbox after lunch, and he used to play that game wall ball where you throw the wall. This was in Vail, and he would play wall ball, and I filled my whole lunchbox up with sand. And I went up behind him and I fucking slapped that motherfucker, dude.
You could wreck
with everything I had, Jeff. I hit him so fucking hard, his toes turned in. I remember that. I ended up getting in trouble. I ended up going to the principal's office because you blah blah. And you said a cuss word to me, and that was the last time I went to that school. I was donezo. They said this kid's fucking gone, because I was trying to call my mom, who the principal, and his name was Principal Pfeiffer, and he was a fucking big Gallagher-looking bitch he was such a bitch, and he was scared of my mom. So I went to call her, and he hung the phone up on me.
I'm scared of your mom. What are you talking about?
I flipped out, dude. I flipped the fuck out. So he called my dad. But anyways, that's all you have to do. Like, you just get tired of it. Nowadays, these poor kids, and there are some kids out there that are just so beat down and you can't get away. And that social media is a big problem for a lot of young kids, because social media, dude, I probably did too. I had an ET one too, I think. But social media one is one of those things where it's like it's good and it's bad at the same time. And it's just, they thought MTV was killing me and Jeff.
I do.
Oh my God! You let them watch MTV, they'll go to hell, Jeff. My mom responded.
I just think if your kids are going to have social media, it's your responsibility. I don't like this. I don't like this whole wave of parents that are like, "My child's 8. It's
soft parenting.
It's their." Well, I just hate it. I'm sorry. I'm. It's my personal opinion. If you're offended by it, there's no sorry. I think soft parenting is the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life. And I also hate. I'll tell you what, Ma. I wasn't, and I also hate the idea of, if my child's 8, well, that's his privacy, and it's not my job to invade in his private talks with his friends. Bullshit. it is your job until he's 18
you
and
don't know
he's
who
a
he's talking
legal
to.
adult. You don't know who he's talking to. And I do believe that. And if you listen to some of these cases where the parents have said, I wish I would have been more involved in my kid's life. I could have stopped this from happening when
Right.
something did happen bad. And they blame themselves. And I hate that those parents blame themselves. And we always look back and go, what could we have done more? And maybe
Yeah.
those parents did enough and they did do
Hindsight.
enough, right?
We
You know?
did.
Right.
And you're
right.
always gonna feel that regret. But then there are some parents that will come out and be like, well, it was his right to have his social media page and he could say what he wanted. And it's like the parent of the child who harassed the other child to end its life. And it's like, no, it's your job as a parent to pay
And those
attention
people
to
never
your
get the
child
recompense. They really
and
don't.
be involved
you-
in your child's life. If you're giving them an adult privilege like a social media account, no, you need to know who they're talking to, what's going on, because there's a lot that you could stop from happening before it gets out of control.
The
And
Okay,
I
well, hold
think
on.
that
we
Let me
all
say-
want
let
our
me-
own social media accounts, so we don't
Or
have
don't
time
have
to pay
any.
attention,
That's right. Let's
the problem.
intervene. Let me intervene on what you said, Brittany.
Yeah.
Try to figure out a way to word it. If you look back when I was a kid, or even a little bit like when I was a kid, and then when Jeff was a kid, we've got some years between us. But if you look back in between when we were children in that decade, or youngsters in that decade, from 70s to the 90s, let's just go there.
Okay.
There wasn't as many suicides in kids due to bullying as there is right now.
No, you're
First and
right.
foremost, I'm gonna tell you, so I've been reading I like really getting into these
100%.
really deep studies on different reasons and stuff. And for example, death doesn't mean the same thing to kids nowadays as it did to us when we were young, right? They've lost that because they're so used to playing video games and dying and respawning and coming back. They think that it's so bad they'll just kill themselves and they'll come
And they'll
back
come
as a
back.
different person. It'll be okay. I read a couple suicide notes from these kids that were like 10 and 12 years old. They're like, sorry, mom, I'm killing myself. I'm going to respawn. I'll meet you. I'm going to respawn at whatever store it was at. I'll meet you there. Completely had no idea that there's no respawning once you kill yourself, like in a video game. Right.
That's just
I'd
terrible.
respawn if I could, just to save time. Like, you do it at work and you end up at home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But my point is, these children have no fucking idea that death is permanent a lot of times. And I was reading an entire study on that from all over the world, not just America. It was all over. There were some cases in Australia, the UK, British Columbia. There was, and these letters were like, I'll just respawn. I'll see you at 5, mom. I'm going to show up here. I've programmed where I'm like, what do you, these kids are mean. I'm going to eliminate them, and then I'm going to eliminate myself. And they're killing kids.
Yep.
Because they can do it in a video game. And I think that some
It's
children,
desensitized.
some kids that aren't loved, let's put it that way, that are pushed into social media platforms or video games or heavy gaming because they don't have anybody to care about them, that becomes their reality, right? And then you try to talk to them about their reality, and they think you're a piece of shit jackass. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. But they watch their entire life fall apart around them, and they have no idea. Because to me, video games was like drugs in me and Jeff's day. They're that addicted to it.
Yeah.
They're that addicted.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. I played Zelda from start to finish.
That's right, Sage. We did too. Do you remember, Sage? We got spanked in school, bro. You could get spanked at school when I was in school. You say to someone out, they're like, oh, that was back in the 1700s. I'm like, no, it wasn't. No, it was not.
Yeah, I got hit in school, but I hit back. So it was.
I mean, you get spanked, or the nuns will crack your finger if you went to a Catholic school. I mean, that was the thing.
They wouldn't let me.
Like he said, they ganged up on us, right? Like he said that. Parents, small town Tennessee, 70, our parents all ganged against us. So they kind of looked out for all the kids. Basically, everybody kind of, Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. You got nowadays it's
commit suicide over stupid shit, but it's mostly drugs and alcohol involved.
That's true. That's different. That's different. It's always happened, but you know what I mean.
He took his dad's car, he Ferris Bueller'd it, and he crashed it right near his house. He walked to his house and fucking done.
Yeah, but see, he was mentally unstable, and that happened.
He was so afraid of what his father was going to do to him when he found out that he cracked up the car.
He killed himself. Right.
See, and that's terrible too. Like I think there should be a fear of there should be like a healthy fear of your family. Like I think if you have that much, your child has that much fear of you to the point where they would rather take their own life than confront you. Like, I messed up. I shouldn't have done what I've done.
Sometimes it's just a mentally unstable kid too.
Yeah. But I'm saying like I would like to know more of like on both sides of that, because there's also times where it's like really not the kid's fault in that sense. The parent is an abuser and they have that fear, so it's like that's just
Well, I'll
terrible
tell
on
you,
both parts.
when we talked about earlier, soft parenting, soft parenting does. I don't care, it doesn't work. Go to YouTube and watch soft parenting versus real. Like there's these little kids, they got to be like 4 years old, and they're like getting in the fridge, and you hear the mom saying, or the dad, "Let's make better decisions and not eat the chocolate like that." And then you see them later on, "Get your ass out of that fridge," and then that's all he has to do is like, "We're done." Like, oh my God, you're teaching somebody etiquette. Like
Yeah, no,
you're not just going to tell me to make a choice when I don't even know what a choice is.
My dad was not a small man, and I could always tell when I was getting ready to cross that line. He wasn't a hitter per se, but there was a couple times where I fucked up bad, and I remember I
But
made
you
a
could see it.
flight in Florida. We were in Florida. We were going back to Connecticut, and I honestly thought the flight was later, so I was out drinking. We couldn't get Coors at home, so we'd come down to Florida and drink fucking Coors all day. And I was a little lit. I was
and
probably
it's from Colorado.
17
Go
years
figure.
old. And I walked in the door. My dad was waiting behind the door, and I got a foot to the back of the leg, and I went flying about 14 feet. And I was like, "You kicked me." He's like, "You're goddamn right, I did." We just made the whole family miss a flight, and so
Yeah, but that wasn't like he wasn't being like he wasn't like, "Hey, everybody, Jeff's been doing really well this year. When he comes in, we're gonna kick him and beat him up." I mean, that's my point. Like,
Oh no, I was
we fucked up
at that point in my life, man. I could really do no right. I just was a piece of shit.
Well, we all go through it. Maybe Brittany didn't, but I did. We all go through just that whole rebellious
oh yeah,
screwing around. For sure. I mean, I know I did it. My poor parents did.
In front of me, and I would drink to excess, and I would treat people terribly. And it took me as an adult to really learn how to treat people right. Even an older adult, I
that's
used
all
to
right.
be an angry person, man, and I just let that shit go. It's just gone.
You have to.
I went sales me the other day, and I actually felt bad because I fucking said some really fucking nasty shit. Of course, he wasn't getting the hint and walking off my property. And then he invoked Jesus, and I lost it. That was it. His mom got into the conversation, and Jesus is his mom. So I got a little fucking saucy, but my girlfriend, who's a wonderful person, she supported me at the time, told the guy to get out, and then took me aside later and said, "Hey, can you maybe next time think about what you say, tone it down a little bit?" I was like, "Yeah, I could do that." Because she's like, "I'm going to be home alone for 3 months." I was like, "Good point." She does carry a gun, but good point.
True.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you don't want people harassing, right?
Oh fuck no, dude! I would eat that guy alive. You just, next time I'm just going to say, "Look, I'll tell you what. Give me your address, and around 5 o'clock, I'll come to your house and disturb you and your family."
What's up, Brian? Good to see you, bro.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Brian.
Mr. Love, what's up, buddy? Thank you, man. So same old man, staying steady. Everybody's good. Everybody here is alive and kicking. So we're good, man. We're just keeping it real and just trying to stay afloat, just like everybody else, man. And I've seen some of your stuff on Facebook. You look pretty good, and I'm glad you guys are hanging in there pretty well, man. So back at you. I hope you're well. Much love to you, bud, and thanks for stopping in. But yeah, I think just coming up in a different time, and like we've touched on it before, just nowadays everything's in the palm of your hand, and sometimes there's kids that have addictive personalities, or there's kids that perceive things differently, right? So we've really got to focus. So like if you're handing a 5 to 9-year-old kid a cell phone that has access to pornography or gambling video games or things like that, it's not good for them. Right. I mean, even back in the day, you had to be 18 to buy a Playboy magazine. You had to be 18 before the law to drink. I mean,
buy them for me, and then they got put in the treehouse. That was my
exactly
the treehouse.
But you didn't have it with you 24/7.
Right.
And I think that these addictions
in the treehouse, those are the only safe hiding places.
Right, and that's these addictions now just ruin people's, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Hey, that's good, Sage. I'm okay with that. We're here. But I think that there's just so much to be said about that. And like, there's just these shows I could end up doing for 2 and 3 hours because we're at that level, Jeff, where we're going to be gone. And look what's behind us, man. Like,
they did a poll online. Cause I've been in bed for so many days. There was a poll online that said that they believe that it was the 80s. If you believed, with the yes or no, if the 80s was the best era, 88% of the poll takers all said the 80s from
Who lived it?
1980,
Gen
yeah,
X is the best
to
generation.
1989 were the
We had
best
the most
years.
fun of anybody. We put it all out there, left nothing on the table.
Yeah.
I did some shit in the 80s that I would never have the balls to do now. Never.
And it was all new.
It's just funny. There's so many people that are like, oh, I wasn't born in the 80s, but from what I've heard of it, I wish I could have lived it. Why can't we always why can't we make things come back to the 80s? Like old sitcoms look so much funnier then. And I'm like, everything was. I mean, even bleeding into the early 90s, it was still great. It was still great.
Well, the 90s were cool. The 90s were still cool.
Yeah.
I think what it was. I mean, how can I explain it?
Simple.
I mean,
like
we had
I
car
always
friends.
say,
Our phones had cords on them.
Time. Yeah.
Craig.
Like, Troy,
in the 80s.
I was having this discussion the other day with a friend because she asked me, she goes, where were you?
Craig, you're fucking awesome.
Damn right, Alan. That's my boy right there. That's my people.
She asked me, it was a really fun conversation. She was like, where were you when the first Jurassic Park came out? And where were you? Like, where were you in the first Jurassic Park?
Brittany was a midget. She probably was just a frog's hair tall.
I wasn't. It was 1993. And so I said, and I will never forget this day. We were standing.
You were like 6 years old.
Listen.
In 93.
7. I was 7 then.
When were you born? 87?
Well, no, because it was June.
25,
so yeah, it would have been going on.
Okay.
So I was standing in the kitchen in Colorado. And I grabbed the newspaper because Grandpa said at the back were all the showtimes at our local theater. So I ran to the back.
To get the showtimes.
There's Jurassic Park had the T-Rex and it had all the showtimes for the Longmont Mall's theater. And I found the afternoon showtime because I knew that Mom and Nanny they preferred afternoon films because they were cheaper tickets. So I found afternoon tickets and I ran down into the basement where they had their crafts all set up. And I remember telling them that there was like a 2-something showing at the Longmont Theater. And Mom was like, okay, we'll go or whatever. And I remember going that day and like half the movie, I kept my eyes closed because Mom was so afraid of the eating people scenes. But I still remember that moment. And it was so, I say, simple and awesome because I didn't go to my phone. I didn't do all this order through an app.
There wasn't a phone.
It was
to go to.
Right. It was like you had the phone on the hook with the cord. Exactly.
Hello.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can call movie phone. Yeah. Hello, and thank you for calling movie phone.
Movie phone. Oh my God.
Yes,
movie phone.
And the worst part is you're listening, and then your mom says something to you right when they're saying your movie. Be like, Mom, they're saying my movie. Oh my God, and I go listen.
Yeah, now I have to look the whole thing over again for the showtimes. Yes.
Thank you for calling movie phone.
That sounds like, to me, that's prehistoric technology now, Jeff.
Oh, without a doubt. The rotary dial phone. Show a kid a rotary dial phone today and ask him to make a call. Dude, I would love to see that shit.
Finn came up to me. He goes,
yeah.
Even a push button.
Finn goes, do you want to hear the sound of the future? And I said, sure, Finn, let me hear the sound of the future. And he plays it and it was dial up. And I said, Finn, that's dial up. And he goes, how did you know? He goes, how did you know the name of it? I'm like, because that's what I grew up with. That's dial up. And he was like, oh, I thought it's the sound of the future.
Pop up in pieces.
Yeah, we grew up with no internet. How about that?
Yeah.
Pretty at least got it. We grew up with no internet. Like none.
That's the internet.
Well, I wasn't allowed to go on the internet till I was older. Like remember the one computer we had that Dad let me learn how to code, and it had just the green and black screen. Like I had to code to get to the next page. Like that was the only thing that I was allowed to play on that was considered internet. Like I couldn't go on the internet until I was like preteen, because that's where all my social friends and social groups were, where I actually like would talk in Messenger.
Yeah, because like when Sage talks about music, I've been into music since I could walk. I mean, that's my So nowadays, everybody gets like, if you wanted a rock shirt back in the day, you had to go to the damn show or find one scalped, like legit, dude. Nowadays, you go to, like when Spencer's was out, it was fun. You get funny shirt, sometimes rock shirt. Then they had Hot Topic. Hot Topic used to be like a rock, like a kind of a metal store when it first started, you know. Now you go in there and it's all cartoons and half naked Asian chick cartoons and like
Wait, where did I find
Pokemons
those?
with penises and Pikachu's with chokers on. I mean, it's not I'm like, and they go, oh, we have the classic wall. There's like 5 shirts, Metallica, AC/DC. But when we were young, you used to have to go to the show. If you wanted a Thrasher T-shirt, you had to go to an event where the skateboarders were doing the Thrasher stuff. That's the only way you could get that stuff, and it was just
Yeah.
different. We're like, hey, you want to
Oh,
go?
I
Just like,
remember when I ordered Thrasher, the magazine, and I had to
yeah,
cut out a piece from a Thrasher that I found, put it in an envelope with it. I had my mom write me a check for like $8 and send it off to get Thrasher. And what was the other one? God damn it, U.S. Skate. No, shit, I can't even remember, man. But yeah,
the only
Thrasher.
one I really think really sticks out is Flat Thrasher because do you remember the band Black Flag?
I was listening to him today, as a matter of fact.
That's
And
they were like legit, like you that was your outcast, bro. Like and really, Brittany, what it is, what it really was it was just kind of against the mainstream, and at that time, the mainstream was trash, and what they wanted you to do, we'd all be like this, we'd all be like,
I miss skate rock, man. Agent Orange, Black Flag, even old Bad Brains.
MOD.
I listened to on the way up to.
You remember MOD?
Yeah, I was listening to that today too. I was listening to. I just kept putting in, play Bad Brains and music like it. Play this. Play 80s punk, 80s metal.
Yep.
They played like SOD, DOA, Armored Saint, Merciful Fate. I mean, all these like super obscure 80s bands that were so awesome.
That's really awesome, Sage. See, that's so cool, man. I miss that because that's what brought us joy.
Yeah.
And I think that
band like bills that I hang on my wall, like old punk bands, like CBs and stuff like that. I love.
Think of the days where you made like old flyers for your parties and stuff. You didn't have like these apps and internet accessibility. You would like cut things out and then tape it and then you'd scan it. So you had like your own designed flyer for your parties.
And then some joker would write it on the chalkboard in school and there'd be 500 people there.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I miss those days. There's zines. People made paper zines, with like 5 pages. And they spent like 6 months putting them together so they could put out like a 5-page thing that they interview some shitty local band and stuff like that. But that was what we used to do. That was before blogging and vlogging and clogging and all the oggings.
Yeah. Or when you actually, like, if you were like a journalist for the school, you actually had to like write and really do real true. Yeah. Like, I have questions for you. Speak right into the analog tape recorder.
Well, there's so many cool things, like especially when you come from like a music background. Like I love Iron Maiden, right? Iron Maiden's a great band. Bruce Dickinson from
Maiden.
But I'm trying to think of the album he debuted on us, Number of the Beast.
Number of the Beast, yeah.
And but nobody really goes back to when Paul Angelo was a singer. I believe it was Paul Andrews. Was that his name? Paul Andrews, right? Paul Andrews, yeah. And he was Paul Andrews.
Yeah, he was on Killers and
78 to 1981, I think. Bro, those albums were fucking great.
Although
like
Bruce
Iron Maiden
stuff too. Number of the Beast, Peace of Mind.
Bruce Dickinson turned Iron Maiden around like to a different level because they used to be what's known as like a gutter punk band in that era. But the music killed, dude. The album Killers was amazing, dude. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So nobody knows about that stuff, but we had to go dig. When you get underground, that's what I was going to say. When you say something like, oh, Black Flag. So when you see people nowadays and they're like listening to this or listening to that, like there was not music like that. There's so much shit like this now that everything almost sounds the same.
Yeah.
I love my old music. The first time I saw Black Flag was at a skate park in Bristol, Connecticut. I must have been like 13 or 14 years old. Henry Rollins with long hair, something you never saw again after.
Remember I'm a Liar?
Yeah, dude. When he went out solo, yeah. I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff that I was listening to this week that was just, I was like, man, I just forgot all about these bands. I just haven't listened to Loudness. Remember Loudness? Japanese
yes, I
metal?
do. Bro, I'm going to send you some stuff that was forgotten about, Jeff, from the 80s that you'll be like, holy shit. And I found some stuff and I was like, this is great, and nobody remembers them, and this fucking slams, and nobody even knew it because they weren't pushed enough in mainstream to be sold, so they kind of fizzled away. But they were really talented, and that was a big thing for us. Music, like the social medias today for people, music was a big deal, and I think, although there's a good band today, there's a band called Falling Reverse. That band's awesome.
There's
That
a lot
guy's
of good
fucking,
bands
he's
out.
fucking good, dude. He's
There's
pretty
a,
good.
there was a big, like, through the early 2000s, there was a big movement for like 70s, like acid metal bands like The Sword and Graveyard and stuff like that. Stuff's all awesome, man. And it's new, but it has that cool
Oh,
70s
remember the band? He's back
vibe.
now. Remember Pentagram?
Yeah.
And the guy was like, I mean, he still does it. He's like 80 something years old. He's touring with his hair all blowed out. It's fucking amazing. He's so funny. He looks the same. His hair's just white.
Yep.
But I want to say he's like 82.
Witchfinder General was another good
It's
band.
crazy, Brittany.
Yep.
It's like when your band, BB Back, gets back together and they come out in their wheelchairs and they're like, until you're back here.
Yeah.
But they were great bands back then. Music was different. And, that we kind of touched a little bit on childhood trauma. And now we're about 10 minutes into the hour. So we'll carry this over next week. And we'll go into some of the stuff that we have and go to, and we can kind of get into it. But, there's just, yes. And I told you, I got to finish getting all my ducks in a row, and I'll send it to you because I've got some stuff, and maybe Jeff can add to it. Brittany, I know you weren't there, but
and you'll lose your mind.
I'll send you a write-up, Jeff, of what I was doing about, the 80s, the music movement, and the Satanic Panic,
definitely.
and all the stuff involved. I'm going to send it to you because I've been writing it down in the notes. I'm going to clean it up, and I want to do a show on it. But if there's something you're like, oh, remember this or remember that, I want to add to it because I want to do that show, and then I'll forward it to you, Brittany, so you can kind of
if we're doing
base with a
McMartin Preschool is the one, man. Some of the most outrageous stories came out of there. Check that one out.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I want you to add to it.
Yeah, cool. Kids getting flushed down the toilet into the satanic basement, and people were like, "Oh my God, they're flushing them down the toilet!" Like, these are adults who believe this crap,
It was crazy, Brittany. I know. Look at Brittany's face. Yeah, that's what happened.
Oh my God.
Yeah, people went to jail over Satanic Panic stuff that was already debunked, and it takes forever to get them out. It's the 80s were a very weird time, man.
And it was all about losing control because they wanted to keep all the kids in control. They wanted everybody doing their thing, and music was a free sort of choice. And you got to remember, it was after the hippie movement. People got sick of the hippie movement, and after the hippie movement died off, the punk and the metal started, dude. And it was like,
produced some awesome music, dude. Some of the best punk out of the 70s. The Ramones.
If you listen to a lot of punk music, there was a lot of. I was watching this whole thing on punk music, Jeff, and they really be beating hippies up. They would like pull up in a car, just jump out mohawks and beat up a hippie. Like they got tired of the hippie shit. That's how it was going, Brittany. Like that was legit the way it was.
But then they became the redheaded stepchildren.
Yeah, the beatniks.
There's a scene in, I don't know if you ever saw Summer of Sam. Not my favorite.
Of course I have.
What's his name? Adrian Brody. They're going to like CB's to see the Ramones and stuff, and people just beat them up because they have mohawks and colored hair and
Yep. And it was the best time for music because it was all new. I got kicked out of church for wearing a Van Halen t-shirt. My mom was so mad. That's because at that time, that was like the most important thing. It's not anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. You still have a little bit. You got some nuts sometimes. Now there's like super Walmart churches around and stuff, and they did whatever. But they swarm Publix on a Sunday afternoon. I go in there pretty proud, let me tell you.
Oh, I go in my shirts, man.
Me too, and they get all mad at me.
Shirts, dude. I actually yesterday. I was wearing my Mothman is Real, God is Fake shirt, and I went into the store.
Oh my God, Mothman is Real. Speaking of that, Brittany's going out to do a whole speech on Mothman.
Hey.
No doubt. It's people always. I'm surprised when I go to Publix. I always get positive feedback about that stuff. People are like,
people love it. I get a good time. I went in one time and I got hassled by those bikers for Christ. They told me I was ugly inside and I needed to clean up. I'm like, well, thank you for judging me, but isn't it you trying to look like me? Excuse me. Excuse me.
Quit biting my style, man.
Yeah, exactly. You stole it. But on that note, we should pick up on this next week. And I said, I will release that, and we'll do it, Jeff, because I want you to look through some of the stuff I've got. You add to it. We'll re-add it because I want it to be really fulfilled. Because I want to do a solid thing on it. Because we got Sage, we got Craig, we got people from that era, man. They're going to remember. We're going back on a journey, and it's really cool. the movies, the journey, all of it. From
Speaking of
seriously
journey,
from the late 70s all the way to the middle to late 90s was just a blast. Like I mean, it was a blast.
I can
I
start
would
with
love to
adding
go
in
back. I'm
like
bored now, if that makes any sense. I'm bored.
right? The
I'll add in
satanic boy
since
bands
I
of the
was born
90s.
towards like the mid late 80s, I'll just add in there like recommended fantastic toddler toys that were great in the
No,
80s.
you didn't know because
Just kidding.
well
I was
listen,
just
here,
kidding.
Yoder.
Plastic rings on the wooden thing, the different
That's
sizes.
right. That's right.
With a little,
So by
little fucking,
1997, Brittany,
lawnmower.
you were 10.
I know. I'm just joking.
So you could go into
Just
your
joking.
growing up in the 90s and it was still pretty much the same. You know, there was like people wearing their clothes
Yeah.
backwards. The band Crisscross, they
Oh,
wear their clothes
yeah.
You
backwards.
make
And
you jump,
Yeah.
man.
yeah, and don't forget, you know, you had DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, hilarious.
We
You have
we had a bunch
Positive
of
they were
Rabbit.
stuff in
just
the
fun
90s.
shit. Remember Kid and Play, Jeff?
Yep. Oh, I remember.
Oh
I
my
watched a lot
God,
of
dude.
sports movies
Oh
back
my
in the
God.
day.
Kid and Play, like, what? Do you remember their movies? That was
He made
awesome.
the
So
fade famous.
yeah.
All
Yeah,
fade.
and
man.
he had that hair that went way too high on the top. So there was a lot of really cool stuff happening towards the end of the 80s when you were born, Brittany. Like NWA came out, and that really
Yeah.
put the hardcore rap scene on there, and like music was changing.
Yep,
There was death
OTP.
metal getting introduced.
Billy Manilli, hello. They
Milli
were
Vanilli.
Millie
amazing.
Vanilli, yeah.
Millie Vanilli.
The
Yeah.
big
Millie
lip syncing
Millie
scandal.
Vanilli, Billy Vanilli, Millie Vanilli,
Milli
Millie
Vanilli.
Vanilli.
Millie.
Millie Vanilli. Yeah.
You know, you got Rick rolled. Michael Jackson had the Bad album out. I mean, there's just a lot of music. Music was,
There was some good music.
believe it or
in
not, people would stay
the
home
Music
to
was
watch the
good.
music awards. Remember the
There was a lot of
MTV
cool
Music
pop
Awards?
songs there. What's that?
Yes.
The MTV Music Awards?
Yeah.
Bro,
Man,
people would stay and you had to watch that because every band, oh, here comes so and so, and oh, Metallica's going to perform next, or look at Slayer, and they get out the stuff
I
they would
actually
say. I
miss
mean,
that. I actually miss MTV being like MTV, like what we grew up with MTV.
music
being like.
videos.
well,
Yes.
what we grew up with was
And
different than what you grew
DJs.
up with.
Well, what I grew up in the MTV was like music videos. Like they would play them all
We had the
day.
Headbangers Ball.
Like, it was so good, and they had
Yeah,
different,
Ricky
Monsters.
like,
Rackman,
different
man. I
events.
followed him on socials.
Who's that?
Ricky Rackman.
Oh, bro, listen. I was listening to this. I was doing Spooky Empire 2 years ago, and this guy walks into my tent. He's like, "Hey, man, what is that right there?" I go, "That's Eurasian Eagle." I was like, "Yeah, can I hold it?" I'm like, "Yeah," and I kept looking at him like, "Dude, who the fuck? Why do I realize who this is?" And then he's like, at the end, he goes, "Yeah, I'm Ricky Rackman, man. He's the host of MTV." What the fuck? He goes to all the he has a booth at all the
Fingers ball.
Spooky Empires. Well, he wanted to come in and hold the owl, so he got to mess with my eagle owl. That's how I met Ash. That
Nice.
guy does the paint. It was really cool because he was like, "Oh," he comes, he's like, "What's that?" He looks about the same.
That's funny.
He looks about the
he
same,
does.
dude.
He does look the same.
Yeah. And so it was really cool to see him and hang out with him. And then we went back and we got to hang out and meet Joey Belladonna and his wife from Anthrax. Great time, Jeff.
Nice.
Anytime I get to go to those places and they're there, I'm always in there because those guys are great to meet. And
Anthrax was another one I loved back in the day, man.
bro,
Scott Ian was my hero.
yeah, him and Belladonna were the bomb, dude.
Yep.
They were bro. The
Mosh, I'm the man. Good stuff. Man.
yeah.
Good.
It was that album that was yellow, and it was all spinny. That was one of my favorite albums, dude. That was one of my favorite.
Anthrax.
Antisocial. That album. And then Among the Living, another good one. God in a mosh. Oh my God, don't get me started.
Mosh was
We have a whole
my
other
favorite.
show. We have a whole other show.
Dude.
Actually, I will try to. I'm going to call. I have Belladonna's information. I think I'm going to give him a call. I'm going to call him and see if I can get him to come on the show one time with us.
That'd be
I think that'd
badass,
be
man. Tell me you got
freaking
some
great.
huge Anthrax fans.
Like when we had Ricky on, man, that was great to talk to Ricky from Poison. That was just, dude, because you get to ask questions, man. You really want to know at that time that you just
get him back.
you want to
on,
hear
man.
from
I missed
them.
that show. I was working, unfortunately.
Oh, that's right.
Yep. I
Yeah,
got
Liquid Television after 9. I remember that.
weeks. I got to find out when it is. Hey, what's up, Jake?
Hey, Jake, what's up, bro? Doing well, man. Doing well. Hope the same for you, my friend. But yeah, we'll definitely get caught up on that, guys. Let's kind of wrap it up for everybody so everybody can get started for the night. I know Jeff's probably got to get things to do. Brittany, you're sick. I know you're fighting it, so I hope you feel better, buddy.
I'm just gonna go burn one and go to bed, man. That's my plan today.
I think I'm gonna go burn one a step for a little while. I think.
Nice.
Maybe I'll fuck with my drums, and maybe I'll do something like that tonight. Maybe I'll just play for a little bit until I wear myself out.
I got.
I will tell you though,
rainbow Cadillacs that I'm gonna be smoking.
I dabble around with the guitar a little. I dabble around with my bass. It's fun, but there ain't nothing like my drums, dude. When I fucking get in that rhythm and that drum's going, man, I just fucking. It's just like you feel like you're calling the troops. What's that?
So you don't want to work, you just want to beat on your drum all day.
All day.
That's it.
Like I'll get in there and I'll be listening to the rhythm. Like I'll listen to like old Guns N' Roses and I'll start getting it going. And before you know it, you're like, I'm having fun, but you're breaking a sweat. One of the best things ever, dude. One
Yeah.
of the best things ever.
Good exercise, man.
So yeah, be
There
good.
you go, man.
Yeah,
Yep.
Sage, and we'll get
You need
into
someone
next
to
week
say
too.
die.
And we'll do that. So again, everybody, want to thank everybody for coming out and talking with me and Jeff and Brittany at the Motley Croc Show. We have a good time. This is our place to cut loose. And like I said, it's not meant to be a serious platform or anything. We're just here to reminisce
True.
and make everybody happy for the
One on a
night.
serious tip.
And the people who send me the DMs and stuff and want me to do that stuff, I don't want to be involved in that. I'm sorry, folks. It's just we have to deal with enough in the real world. This isn't the real world here. We're characters and we're having fun living our lives. And this is about the fun part of life. And this is what I want to bring to the table. Yes, we rant, but this is what I want to bring. So thank you guys for supporting us and coming out and checking us out all the time. And thank you too for joining me again on the Motley Croc Show. Jeff, Brittany, we will see you guys next week. And everybody have a good night. We'll see you next Thursday.